The Guilty Gear beta is now open to members of the media and will soon be open to people who pre-ordered and then to the general public as well. I was one of those fortunate enough to get access to the beta this early. Just spent the whole 5 hours that the servers were open for playing this game, going into the lab, testing the netcode, testing all of its features, and I'm sure you guys want to hear all about it. And these are my first impressions of Guilty Gear Strive. First thing I did was jump into training to start labbing a few combos, a few block strings to get comfortable with the controls, so then I could take a character into online matches and at least know a thing or two of what I was trying to do. And I was definitely impressed by the training mode. I obviously expected it to be good because its Arc system works and they've done plenty of training modes in the past, so all the options you would probably want are here. You can set your opponent to different stances, you can set them to block or to get hit, you can set them to get hit on counter, which in this game is kind of a big deal. And then on top of that you have reversal options. You can choose what the opponent does after getting hit, after the opponent blocks, after the opponent wakes up. So it feels like a very complete training menu. That said, however, this stuff was kind of expected for me. This is what I wanted, but this is also what I was expecting from Marxist. What actually impressed me though were the recordings. You can actually set up to 5 recordings and then you can save them. So let's say you just have a mix-up routine and you're trying to practice your defense. You can record 5 different mix-ups with your training dummy and then play them back randomly as you try to block. But then you can save those replays into, let's say, a blocking session or mix-up practice or whatever. So the next time you come in, you can just load those replays and be ready to go into that practice session. Currently in Dragon Ball FighterZ, the recordings are also saved, but if you overwrite one of them, there's no way to go back. Having these save slots available to you is going to make things a whole lot easier to practice different situations on a daily basis. Really a big fan of training mode, which is awesome because you can actually be in matchmaking while in practice mode. So let's talk about the online modes. How have they changed? How are they better? Are they worse? And we gotta start with the online lobby. I still don't like it. They have given you more options for creating your lobby avatar. They've worked on some animations, so it is less janky maybe. And it is actually a lot clearer on who's waiting for a match and how to challenge that person that is now waiting for a match. You see, previously you just put your sword out and wait for a match. It was basically like entering matchmaking. But it was kind of hard to walk up to someone and go, hey, I want to play this guy. Now it works as I think was intended at first. One player puts up the sword, another player walks up to them and challenges. That all sounds simple enough, so Globku, what's the issue? Well, we've got a few of them. First of all, there are no rematches currently in this beta, and I assume it's because it's a beta and they actually want you to jump from opponent to opponent to stress test their netcode. But just trying to rematch again using this system, being like challenge once more, join that challenge and start playing again, that takes way too long. Rematching is kind of a nightmare currently in the open beta. Not only that, if the player isn't challenging yet and you accidentally press him and just inspect their player card, it takes so long to load that player card. So it takes a really long time to correct your mistake. You just mispress the button and you just can't back out during this entire loading. Like, it just takes so long to load up stats. I kind of don't get it. It's also a bit awkward getting in and out of matches. Like, your character will be stuck for a while. You won't be able to move. You won't be able to requeue for another match. So overall, I'm still not really a big fan of this lobby system, but they did do some work. Not only does it work as it was supposed to, now you have different areas to visit as you climb to the higher floors, because this is their version of ranked. You're assigned to a floor and you can challenge higher floors, but you cannot go below. So basically the idea is you keep ranking up until you are just playing against the best of the best. And some of the floors look better than others. There's definitely some effort, some artwork going on here that I definitely appreciate, but the basic structure of this lobby system, I still don't think it was the best idea in the world. Plus, half of your screen is still a big panel with news, which I really doubt will ever be used for anything that's actually interesting. It'll be like, hey, DLC character comes out next week. Sure, we didn't hear about it on Twitter. Now, on the bright side, you actually don't have to engage with this lobby at all. There's an item that says quick match right at the start menu, so you can just queue up from there. You can also go into a regional lobby where your friends are and go into practice mode, and while you lab, it is actively searching for a match. So you don't have to be in that lobby, but you're still playing against players from that same lobby. It kind of feels like a workaround to get past this lobby system. So in a way, I'm glad it works. I'm glad I don't have to engage with it. But on the other hand, it's like, why do I have to bypass a lobby system that you guys created? But anyway, let's talk about the matches, and let's talk more specifically about the netcode. I've played a ton of matches with my friend Rinnegan, and he lives pretty close to me. This thing was giving us 2 to 3 millisecond delay with 0 frames of rollback. This might not sound like a big deal, but we play fighters all the time, and it's always 1 frame delay, which is 16 milliseconds. And whenever Dragon Ball isn't working properly, it even gives us 2 or 3 frame delay, which is insane because he lives 10 minutes away from me. So in a close range distance, it's already miles better what fighters ever was. And then I decided to go into the Japanese lobbies, and turns out everyone was there. Every streamer you might have heard of, every pro player, they were all just playing there. I played Fenrich, I played Wawa, I played Coefficient, I played JM Crofts, I played a ton of people from America and people from Japan. And let me tell you, this might be the best netcode I have ever experienced. I don't know about Killer Instinct because I didn't play it too much, but I did play a ton of Mortal Kombat, and let me tell you, this feels a lot better. I will throw a caveat in here and say this is a first impression. The lobbies weren't completely full as it is media access only. Once the servers start getting stressed, maybe we'll see something different, but first impression, oh my god, it could not have been better. First of all, it's rollback netcode. So whenever you are comboing your opponent or doing a block string, it is offline. That is true for most rollback netcodes, at least if they're done properly. You will not feel delay, you will not drop combos because of lag. All the matches that I played against people from the East Coast still felt super good. Incredibly solid. I think up to 180 milliseconds, I still can tell the difference. Now, as we get better at the game, as we learn it more and more, and as we try to block stuff, maybe that 180 milliseconds will be something that I'll feel a difference in the future. But right now, at the beginner level, it's offline. I can't tell the difference. Where rollback usually starts to fall apart is when you're blocking your opponent's mix-up and in neutral, because you tend to see your opponent just teleporting around. That's when you know that rollback is in effect. That really didn't happen until I started playing Japanese players. And even then, it wasn't happening all the time. It wasn't some Street Fighter nightmare. It was enough to throw a player off of their game for sure, but even at that distance, if both players have a solid internet connection, you will see rollback in action like 5 times per match, which is not crazy compared to everything else that Japan has put out so far. It almost feels surreal playing Guilty Gear and having this good netcode. I never thought I'd see the day. I was really afraid that they would mess this up, but my god, this netcode is glorious. Now, that said, do not think that rollback netcode will come in as like a magic solution that fixes everything. Wi-Fi is still bad, and I know it because I was accidentally on Wi-Fi for the first matches. This is a match in Europe, and whenever Wi-Fi spikes, it actually pauses the match. The match feels good, like I wasn't feeling any lag, but then it's just like, oh, freeze out of nowhere, and you can see the rollback trying to catch up with what the match is actually doing. So no, this netcode will not let you play Wi-Fi. Still plug in your goddamn consoles, get an Ethernet cable. Because guess what? This is as good as it gets. At least so far, I haven't seen any netcode that is better than this. So the developers have done their part. Now it's our turn to do ours. Plug your consoles. I guess that's the big question you guys really wanted to know. Now, other than that, I think the tutorial sucks. It really doesn't teach you about the game and its systems. And I guess that's why they were publishing so many videos on the game systems and character guides and all that stuff, because this beta is really bad at teaching you that. So if you don't know Guilty Gear, go watch those videos before you jump in. You gotta know what a Roman castle is. You gotta know what a burst is. Like, the tutorial does not teach you. It's bad. It's really bad. I hope the final version is better, because Guilty Gear Xrd had a godlike tutorial, and I think this one eventually will have too. They just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. And as far as the game feel overall, whoa, this game's hard. I did not have an easy time. I had a ton of fun, but I did not have an easy time playing this game. For instance, take Nagoriyuki. Nagoriyuki has a very beginner-friendly mechanic, which is the slash button. If you hit slash 3 times in a row, it almost does like sort of an auto combo. And that works on hit or on block. But sometimes, I was mashing that slash button and it would only do the first attack, and then I would get counter hit by something. It's like the timing of things isn't really what I'm used to, and it's taking a while to get there. But every single character in this game is super unique. That has its upsides and its downsides. Upsides being, it gives the game a lot of longevity. somebody. Whenever you drop your main character and try to pick up someone else, it's like relearning the whole game. It's like it's fresh again. The downside being, you kind of have to practice really hard to pick up another character. But that's always been the way Guilty Gear games have been, and this one should be by far the easiest one to learn. At least that's the impression I have right now. I still wish you could combo from punches and kicks to slashes. Kind of feels weird poking with a punch or kick and really not getting anything out of it. And then you counter poke with a slash and half of the health bar is gone. I also don't really agree with the half circle back forward motions. Basically, if you want to do a super, this is the motion, okay? Half circle back, forward, heavy slash. I've been playing fighting games for the most part with a DualShock 4. This game on PS5, during the beta, does not take my DualShock 4. I had to play it with a PlayStation 5 controller. My god, those motions are so inconsistent. And I really think that's a legacy from arcade machines, and a lot of people playing Guilty Gear play with fight sticks. But if their goal is to include more people and to bring more new players into Guilty Gear, I don't think these things should be here, but they are going to be here, and the final game's going to be here. So if you want to play Guilty Gear, you better get used to them. After 5 hours of doing half circle motions, my finger's getting kind of sore, but I'll be back live streaming when it opens up again. Twitch.tv/Globku, give me a follow. We'll be streaming Guilty Gear all week long. And those are my first impressions of Guilty Gear Strive from the open beta. I'll also try to have a review by the end of the beta, so at the start of next week, to give you my final, more concrete thoughts. But first impressions are, my god, this game is amazing. It could very well be one of the best fighting games of all time. That's my opinion though. If you have played it, if you have tried it out, let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Bye. That is bullshit blazing to my